Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa sallam. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, namaste, sat sri akal, ladies and gentlemen, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I hope you are doing well wherever you are. I'm back with a short video clip with the hope and objective that it would bring some positive changes in your professional life. So, all my work is basically targeted on undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral students, junior faculty, or those who are interested in coming into the teaching profession. So, all my video clips you would see are targeted for those candidates. So, today I am planning to discuss something very important, and that very important is that many of our students, when they are planning to go abroad and study, they are really lost when they are abroad. They have no idea how to do things. They have no idea how to overcome at the challenges. Many a time I have seen students packing and planning to come back home, or doing some very strange decisions, making some strange decisions because of poorly uh, uh, poor training on how to deal with foreign cultures while living abroad. So the challenges that I have seen mostly when I was there and I was dealing with freshmen or graduate students coming from abroad, most of the time the biggest challenge they always had is the language barrier. Even though they have completed TOEFL with, let's say, some good score, but when you go and deal with the real fellows, it is quite challenging over there. And particularly, the accent is very different. If you are in New York, accent is different. If you are in Texas, accent is different. If you're in California, Texas, accent is different. So these are the things one must look into it very carefully. So listening skills supposed to be very, very strong. So I mean, it is not something that would cause a serious disaster, but it requires serious attention to be part of the community, to be part of the culture where you are. Second biggest issue that I have always seen with foreign students is financial issues. Sometimes they have scholarships from the university that's joining, and sometimes they are committed to pay themselves, particularly undergraduate studies and graduate school. Doctoral programs are mostly funded by the US universities. So this is another challenge that I have seen with foreign students when in the US. Financial pressure. Now the question is how to deal with this. There are many ways. US universities allows you to work 20 hours in the campus per week, and that's enough basically to have your living expenses covered with that. Then in the holidays you are allowed to work full time. It's totally fine. There is no issue with that. But mostly universities prefer that you work in the campus, and I advise students to work in the campus only. It helps you to get awareness of the local culture, make your professional network, get used to of American lifestyle, and get used to of appearing in the interviews and dealing with the companies, because most of the time companies come into the campus for job fair and campus-based hiring. So look into this thing. Cultural aspects is a very, very strong. Because of this, many students go into isolation. Because of this, many students are not able to focus on their studies. Because of this, many students end up getting very, very low grade. When I say cultural aspects, I mean I'm looking into how to socialize in the Western culture, particularly when you are in the US. Now, one has to be very open and broad minded when living with Americans. Let me tell you, they're very loving, they are very caring, they are very professional. I'm not talking about the elites only, I'm not talking about the topmost professors, I'm talking about the average fellow even. The level of knowledge, the approach to things, the way a blue collar worker would take over there is way more higher compared to a white collar person in the third world. So look into it. It's a comparison, and it's an honest comparison. I have lived over there for 2 decades, and I know how do they do things. So one has to be very, very careful and very honest about himself or herself. So when you are dealing with them, deal with the objective and purpose to learn something from them. Then you will have a very successful life with them, and then you would be part of the actual culture where you would make the most of their expertise and professionalism. So these are the things that I was looking into and hoping to share with you. Now, how to do with this, how to overcome at these challenges. We can have a long session on that sometime. But these are the points: language barrier, financial pressures, cultural aspects that would lead to isolation of students because all American groups will be sitting on one side, one Indian or Pakistani or Bangladeshi student sitting on the one side, simply because poor awareness of the foreign culture. So study it, understand it, spend some time with those who have spent years in the US. Best, those who have studied over there and worked over there, they would be the best person to share the cultural values with you from the US. So look into it and be prepared when you are going to US for your further studies, or even if you are going for work visa or a short training particularly. So if you can look into the cultural aspects, you will have a very successful and joyful time in the US. Thank you so much. I hope it is helpful to you.